Hello, welcome back to Reelchoice movie review. This is Joe, and I recently watched the movie Unbreakable, starring Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. And if you're a movie buff like myself, they really need no introduction. But of course, Bruce Willis comes from your Die Hard movie series, as well as The Fifth Element and many more. And Samuel L. Jackson has starred in Pulp Fiction, Reasonable Doubt, and several other great movies. Two great actors, a great combination. Okay, I'm a little bit at a disadvantage here because I've never really been into comics. Not because I don't like superhero stories. It was just never something that was presented to me or introduced to me. And for that reason, I mean, believe me, I love Superman. I watched the old school Spider-Man, the old school Batman and Robin movies. I wasn't aware when watching Unbreakable that it was a superhero movie. Not only was it a superhero movie, but it was a story that was in its infancy. And what I mean by that, it's the making of a superhero, much like Spider-Man getting bit by a spider and other similar superhero stories of origins. Unbreakable opens with Bruce Willis riding on a train, starting a conversation up with a young lady who then perceives the conversation as Bruce Willis. She takes it that he's trying to pick her up, and she moves away. And shortly after that, there's a train wreck that only Bruce Willis survives from. Not only does he survive from it, but he is left unmarked, unharmed, unbroken, unbreakable. The doctor's very surprised. Shortly after that, there's a service for those that perished in the car accident, and he finds an invitation, which was placed there by Samuel L. Jackson's character, to a comic art gallery exhibit. That's where they first meet, the first meeting of Samuel L. Jackson's character, who later becomes Mr. Glass. He kind of interrogates Bruce Willis to see if, because what Samuel L. Jackson is, what you find out is he's in search of a superhero. And I'll get back to that in a second, but he wants to make sure all these stories he's heard about Bruce Willis surviving this plane wreck, okay, here, this is possibly the superhero. Let me make sure. So he grills him. Bruce Willis takes it wrong and decides to leave. But Samuel Jackson's character does not stop there. He continues to pursues him on his job, and there he starts to watch Bruce Willis and starts to notice that he does have like this instinct for picking out criminals. Now he's wondering, is there more to this instinct? Is he having visions? How is he able to detect a possible criminal? And he sees him in action, and Bruce Willis is actually able to predict the exact weapon one of the suspects, not really a suspect because he didn't arrest him, but he had his eye on this individual, and he was able to actually nail what kind of weapon he had on him. And that's where Samuel Jackson starts to say, okay, wait, this guy's got something, you know. So he continues to, Bruce Willis wants nothing to do with this, and you gotta wonder, what is the motivation for Samuel Jackson? Well, his character was born with a disorder or a disability where his bones break easily. It's like a degenerative disease, I think. And you start to wonder what, I was wondering in the movie, so what does he want Bruce Willis for? Does he want some of his genes? Does he want to... and that's what the storyline's about. You figure out why Samuel L. Jackson is pursuing this hero in Bruce Willis later on, where you find out in the end. And it's a great story because it's almost like you're reading a comic book of a new superhero, and you're watching it in its infancy. You're watching it develop. That's where I'm going to stop it, because I don't want, if you haven't seen it, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that haven't seen great movies before, but if you haven't seen it, I don't want to give it away. And the movie is Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel Jackson. Very enjoyable movie. I loved it. I'm going to give it 5 stars. One of my favorites. And it's funny, if you're out there and you follow Samuel Jackson, he has this scene that's very reminiscent of Pulp Fiction, where he just kind of goes off on this rant because he gets upset with a guy that wants to buy one of his comic pieces of art for his son, and he says stuff like, "Does this look like Toys R Us?" And he just goes in a rant. I don't think he actually says Toys R Us, but it's an example. But a great movie. Movie's Unbreakable, and I will have reviews for Split and Glass coming up. Thank you for being with me on Reelchoice Movie. This is Joe signing off. Hope you enjoy the movie.